Alright guys, it's Michael Wild Games, and I just got done cleaning up the other backstrap. It was dry aged. They're pretty close similar in size. Like I mentioned in my last video, it was a lot of waste. So the way I'm gonna cook these today is gonna be on a cast iron skillet. I'm gonna season one with coarse, just your coarse kosher salt and coarse ground black pepper. And I'm gonna do the other one with my favorite, Slap Your Mama. This seasoning right here has replaced over half of the seasonings in my cabinet. So if you've never tried it, I strongly suggest it. So I'm gonna do these on a cast iron skillet. Anytime you cook wild game, you want to try to refrain from overcooking it, unless it's like bear or like wild hogs, because they carry so many diseases. But with backstrap, it's such a nice cut of meat, you don't want to overcook it. So I'm just gonna cut it, and since these are thinner, I like my steaks about that thin anyway. So I'm just gonna cut them into about serving size pieces. So approximately thirds. It's not gonna be 100% perfect, but that's how I'm gonna do it. Some grass. And just like cooking steak, I like to leave it sitting out for a little while to let it get room temperature. Because if it's still cold, the inside will cook differently. So I treat my steak cuts just like I would in any other steak. I don't discriminate. I'm gonna put a liberal amount of Slap Your Mama on these. And this is just the original blend. The red can, it's a spicy one, so if you like more spice in your life, then you might want to try that one too. I'm just gonna pat this seasoning into the meat. And in my cast iron skillet, I have some bacon grease from this morning. I like to cook with bacon grease. It just leaves a nice flavor, a nice consistency on the meat. I'm going to make sure I season the edges also. If I don't have bacon grease, I'll just use some olive oil and some butter. And I'm actually going to throw some butter in this also, because I didn't do too much bacon this morning. If you're wanting to introduce someone to wild game meat, especially like venison, backstrap would be the way to go. It's great to introduce it, in chili or hamburgers, but if you're really trying to make an impression on someone, go with backstrap. Oops. So there's that. I personally like to use coarse seasonings as far as salt and pepper go. I just feel like the flavor in it is more bold. Regular table salt is fine, but it's just your own preference, I suppose. Try to flip these over so they got a little bit more salt. And when I go to cook them on a skillet, I make sure my skillet is good and hot. I don't turn on the stove and then just throw the meat on there. I want my skillet to be good and hot so it'll get a good consistent cook, because as it heats up, it'll cook your meat differently. And that's a good way to overcook your meat, if you will. With coarse black pepper, if you've never used it, a little bit goes a long way. So if you're not careful, you'll start sneezing and whatnot. I also like using coarse black pepper in marinades. Just like I said, it goes a long way. You don't have to do a tablespoon, teaspoon. You could really use like half of that and get the same flavor. So the backstraps are ready to be thrown on a skillet. Let me get that heated up and we'll be right back. All right guys, I'm back. Got my skillet heating up with some bacon grease in it. I'm gonna add some butter to it just to add some volume to the liquid, and a little bit of olive oil to keep my butter from burning. This ain't gonna take very long. I like my steaks a little bit more on the medium rare side. So excuse me, I'm gonna turn on the vent fan of my microwave to prevent my house from getting all smoked out. I'm gonna go ahead and do the salt and pepper first. I'm doing salt and pepper first to prevent cross flavoring it with the sloppy mama. I'm gonna do about 1.5 to 2 minutes on each side so I get a good sear. And then after it cooks for a little bit, I'm just going to use a basic meat thermometer to test the temperature. I want it to be around 125 or 130. Alright, it's been a little over a minute, so I'm going to go ahead and flip these over. And see how it's cooking all the way through? That's what I'm looking for. Once the colors kind of match or mesh together, at that point I'll pull one off and test the thicker part of it with my meat thermometer. Just to see if that's the temp I wanted at. Add in a little bit more butter just to prevent things from burning. I like to take a spoon and scoop up some of the drippings and put it on top and kind of baste it. Keep that steak nice and moist. I even do it with butter. It has the same effect. So I'm aware that all my pieces weren't exactly equal. This one's definitely smaller, so I'm going to test this one first because I don't want it to be overcooked. Put this time in. About right under 120. So I'll go ahead and flip them over. And it's cooking really fast. It might only take 30 more seconds, if that, until it's at the perfect temperature. You see how it created more of a bark where it's seared at? It's gonna be a good steak. Go ahead and test it again. going to the same spot. It hasn't gone up too much, and to be honest, guys, I probably got excited. So, sorry about that. That's a thicker piece. See how much slower the thick pieces are rising? Super slow. Anytime you're testing meat, you want to make sure to wipe off your thermometer if you're using fish or chicken, because you don't want to cross-contaminate it. That's the kind of basic food safety. The small one should be good. Alright, it's right around 125. So I'm going to go ahead and set that on my plate. Let it get to resting. I'll go ahead and remove these also here in about 15-20 seconds. And I'll be right back after I complete the Slap Your Mama seasoned ones. And I'll cut into them and show you the finished product. Alright everybody, I've let these steaks rest for about 10 minutes. I'm going to cut into them and show you what they look like. This knife right here that I'm about to use, it's a original buffalo skinner. I picked the blade up from Manitou Springs in Colorado. A good friend of mine, a fellow veteran, Larry McCracken, he made the handle for me out of a mule deer shed that I had found. And he also made this sheath. He runs Mill Creek Outfitters in Colorado. So if you're looking for a good do-it-yourself Colorado elk hunt, contact Larry McCracken at Mill Creek Outfitters. So the Slap Your Mama that I did, these steaks were a little bit thinner, so they cooked a little bit faster, but they temped out just fine. So let me go ahead and look at that. Beautiful. Now for the little taste test. And a good steak, there's no reason to even use steak sauce. The steak sauce is right here. To sop up its natural drippings. You wouldn't even know. For that being a buck in the rut, dry aging that is one of the best bites I've ever had. My mother, who doesn't like venison, the only reason she doesn't like it is because she knows what it is. I give her a piece of this, she wouldn't even know. Wow. Well, I don't want to waste a lot of you guys' time watching me eat this. I'll probably eat all these. I had meal prepped some ground elk meat right here from an elk I harvested back in September, and some jasmine rice. I just left the gym a little bit ago before I started this video, so I'm definitely going to eat all this rice with these 3 portions of meat. I'll probably eat the other 3 later. I'll let my family try these other 3, but I'll just have to make some more rice for this ground elk. Sorry that wasn't the cleanest of presentations, but it all looks the same later. Well guys, thanks a lot for your time. If you wanted more information on Larry McCracken with Mill Creek Outfitters, or my recipes or anything like that, like and subscribe. Feel free to leave a comment. I'm always down to learn new things. So thanks again, and I'll see you guys later.